think I'm ready to go here. All right. Okay. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Games Are Fun podcast. My name is Luke and I am your host. Joining me today are my two awesome co-hosts. You guys, you stole the ship away last week. You covered for me and and Garrett while we were gone. And
You're
I gotta
back to claim the throne.
yes, yeah. I was a little afraid that giving you all that power, I would be locked out of the castle or something like that. But you guys held it down last week. Great episode. Yeah. How are you guys doing, Steven? How's it going? You said at the top of the stream here, you've been doing some rating. How's that going for you?
Yeah, so Final Fantasy 14 current content Savage rating started it last week, and I'm in the second week of the trial, and I think it's been going pretty good. We're what they call progging, which is moving along nicely and learning the fights and getting to know each other, and it's a new challenge, that's for sure. It's been a good one.
That's awesome. That's really great. How about you, Adam? What's been going on with you?
Just we were playing some games on stream this week, which was a lot of fun. Phasmophobia, Rocket League. Always good times doing that. We had a Nintendo Direct, so I'm super stoked there. Played a new game on stream last night, which was a ton of fun, which we'll talk about later. Yeah, just been a pretty good week.
Yeah, it's honestly like, yeah, we got those couple gameplay streams in on the Twitch channel. That was great, but I got back to a stream yesterday. You've been streaming, Adam. Obviously, Steven, you're killing it. So like, even though you get these podcast episodes only once a week, we're still doing stuff constantly throughout the week. So make sure you're checking us out on those channels as well. But let's get into this today's show, and it's all about the Nintendo Direct presentation from yesterday. There's so much hype leading up to it. It's happened. We reacted. We're all, shout out to Nishon, twitch.tv/Nishon. He held a watch long party over there, and it was really fun. We had lots of GAF community members, I guess, taking part in the discussion over there, and that was really fun to have live reactions. But this episode's all going to be about kind of giving more details of what our thoughts were now that we've had some time to think things over. So that 50-minute presentation was full of game announcements, and we have lots of thoughts to share. So that's what the episode is going to be about today. But before we get to that, we wanted to remind you that Games Are Fun is a weekly podcast. Each week, Adam, Steven, sometimes Garrett's going through a time right now. You should all actually send some love over to Garrett at LP Panther. He's in Texas, so he has also been impacted with the weather situation down there, and not having water, constant in and out of power and stuff like that. So uh, he can't be here because of obviously higher priorities going on. So go give him some love over on Twitter. But each week, Adam, Steven, and myself get together to talk about video game news, trendy industry topics, and give game reviews. The podcast is available on your favorite podcast services of choice. Just search for Games Are Fun. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, just pretty much all your major podcast services. We should pop up on there. We also have a YouTube channel, and we really appreciate it if you could go and subscribe to that YouTube channel. We only have like a handful of subscribers over there because we're just starting to put these streams over on that YouTube channel, and so we'd really appreciate if you could help us get up that subscriber count so we can get that custom link. That would really help with promoting that channel. So and for our audio listeners listening right now, this week's episode is being streamed live over on twitch.tv/Games Are Fun podcast. Now, I know most of you kind of consume this show on podcast services, listening to it, but, please consider heading over to Twitch and giving us that follow. Help us reach that affiliate goal. We're like 10 followers away from reaching that 50 follower goal required for Twitch affiliate. And we appreciate everyone who's given that follow. But if you're listening to the show on podcast services, you have a Twitch account, but you've never checked out one of our streams, take that second right now, head over there, give us that follow, hit that bell so you know when we're going live next. But if you can't catch it live, I know we're all busy with our schedules. These streams are archived over on our YouTube channel, so you can also check them out over there.
And the one other thing about the Twitch channel, guys, is that you can join in with the crowd to try and break us while we're recording this audio episode at the very same time. And they have a blast doing it, trying to get us to laugh or giggle out, whatever it may be, during recording of this. It's always a good time. And of course, your live discussion helps to fuel our discussion a little bit as well.
Yes, absolutely. Housekeeping, there's nothing really to mention for housekeeping for Games Are Fun. Nothing new really to announce, but Steve and Adam, is there anything that you guys got going on next week or in the coming days for your Twitch streams?
So nothing new within the next week or so. And I was discussing this with my community. Basically, what we're going to be looking at, this will be coming up in May, so it's a little bit of ways away. But coming up in May with the release of Mass Effect Legendary Edition, we're going to be switching over to a different schedule. Normally, I'm a Final Fantasy 14 streamer, but there is enough interest in me running the 3 Mass Effect games through stream during my normal hours, 9 a.m. Eastern time. To about 12 or 1 over the week. And that's going to be something that's coming up. Other than that, it's just a ton of fun each day. We do discussions, talk over news, talk over game releases, take a look at YouTube videos and do reactions, all sorts of stuff like that. So it's just an all around good time, even if you're not a Final Fantasy player. It's just a good place to chill.
Yeah, so I have on my Twitch channel. I just created some goals for myself, which I need some help reaching. So I'm trying to grow things a little bit, try and do things that might be kind of fun for others. One of them is just real basic. So I'm my next sort of milestone, I guess you could say, now that I've hit affiliate, is to get 100 followers. So as of right now, I just have a goal on there that if I hit 100 followers, I'll do a playthrough of Mega Man X. So nothing
Oh,
huge,
nice.
but I love retro games, and Mega Man X is a good one that I think would be fun. So yeah, that's just when we hit that, I'll play through that game. The other one is a little bit more substantial. It's going to take a little bit more effort, but I think the payoff might be worth it. For those that maybe want to see me struggle or just want to, kind of give me a kick in the pants that I need to do something I've been wanting to do for a while. So if I hit 15 subscribers, that'll open up an emote slot for me, which I would love to be able to share more of my emotes with you guys. Kind of move some things around and just think that'd be pretty fun. But along with that is that I will on stream put in the work to submit an official time for a speed run.
Oh,
So I will
nice,
I
dude.
will officially learn and post a speed run.
That's
Don't know
awesome.
what yet.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but we'll figure it out when that time comes. So
That's fantastic. So you said
yeah.
15 subscribers, right?
Yep.
Twitch.tv/AdamPalooza85, everybody. There it
Yep.
is. That's awesome. I want that to happen. I'm bringing that up tomorrow at the community.
Absolutely, man. We'll be pushing that for the coming weeks for sure because I'd love to see that. I got back to streaming on my Twitch channel. I've been so inconsistent over there since I hit affiliate, and I really want to get back to that. And I finished up Resident Evil 3, and it was a lot of fun. It was actually one of the best streams I've had in a long time. And so, shout out to everyone who came by there. We had some familiar faces that often come over to the Games Are Fun Twitch channel. So, thanks to everyone who did that. And I'm gonna be probably continuing this upcoming week on that with Resident Evil 7. I started it yesterday, probably put in an hour before I called it quits. So I'm going to continue that playthrough on my Twitch channel. And that's been a lot of fun. Um, yeah, the Resident Evil fans have been popping out, and I love it. It's great to be able to talk about that franchise because I really enjoy Resident Evil games. Garrett also has been playing through some Resident Evil games, so I feel like there's a lot of like hype around Resident Evil, which there hasn't. It's been a little bit. I don't think there was that last year with the remake release, so it's cool to see that community kind of really come out. So that's what we got going on our personal channel. So please check those out. But let's get into the big topic of the show today, which is the Nintendo Direct presentation. So earlier this week, Nintendo was like, Luke, we see that you have an entire week off. What better way to celebrate that with than a Nintendo Direct presentation? And so they tweeted that out. 50-minute presentation, guys. It was I never wrote it down, but since what was it? September 2019 was the last
Yep.
full Direct we got.
530 days.
Yeah,
Now,
wow.
of course, they've had like, the mini directs, they've had the partner showcases, they've had the indie world. So there's been obviously
Mhm.
Nintendo information that's come out, but the last like media official direct was 530 days.
Yeah, long time. So naturally, I think a lot of people have had a lot of, high expectations, and um we'll get into it after we kind of give our overall opinions and conclusions on it all. But I just want to say at the start of this, because right after, during that presentation, and then immediately after, I went over to Twitter and all sorts of reactions, a lot of negativity surrounding it. Is it justifiable? Possibly. And there's nothing wrong with uh, being, having expectations and having and being upset for that's totally plausible. But I think I do want to say that I think it's okay for people to have high expectations. We streamed the night before, we were playing some Rocket League, and we were throwing out stuff that weren't even close to being shown at
Oh yeah.
that presentation. But that's the fun of these things, is the discussions around it, the possibilities that could be presented. So that I just want to talk about, like, I think I don't mean to speak for you guys, but I think that's kind of our overall kind of perspective on this. Before it actually happened, we were all very excited for it, and we were all, hoping for some big bombshells.
Yeah, it definitely was in that group. Like I kind of forgot what we were about to watch, right? The Nintendo
Mm-hmm.
Direct, while they do what they did yesterday with the just a slew of release dates and titles and everything like that, it's the directs in between like major events typically aren't like their larger um drops, right? You're not going to get your big titles. Like they always save those for those summertime months. And this is why I was mentioning, like, maybe they won't be at E3. Maybe they won't be at E3, but they're going to have a direct that's going to happen within that time frame, and they're going to have a treehouse. I guarantee the treehouses are coming back this year, and I'm excited for it. They're going to have that during that E3 timeframe, and that's where we're going to get all the stuff that everybody was really hoping to see: the Metroid drops, the Breath of the Wild news, like all that big stuff. So, like, I kind of had to, as the thing was going, I'm like, man, they're really not giving these big titles out. This is really disappointing. But then a little bit later on in the evening, and a little bit this morning, I was thinking on it. It's like, actually, this was a perfect Nintendo Direct. It was chock full of a bunch of new stuff that's coming out this year, a couple things that are coming out next year, but we'll see our big stuff coming up here in the summertime. I think that's really where we can expect to see all those big titles that everybody was hoping for.
Yeah, and I thought it was great. I said before, like I love gaming news. Like even though there wasn't like everything in there wasn't for me. It wasn't all those Gatorade get hype moments that everyone was trying to predict before the event happened. Like it was filled with good stuff. There was a ton of games in there. A lot of really good ones. And yeah, maybe not every game is for everyone, but there is definitely a few things for everyone. And I think that's great. I think this is also a sign that the games industry has finally officially adjusted to working from home. I think this is a sign that we're going to start seeing more information, not just from Nintendo, but from other developers and publishers as well. We're going to start seeing more information, more games. Um, we're going to start getting all those things that we've been waiting for such a long time. And this isn't, we're not going to have to wait another 530 days for another direct. Like
Yeah.
they're back. They are back. And that alone is super exciting.
I totally agree. I was just excited to be back in that mindset, right? Because it had I talked about I think on our yeah the stream night the night before, and just like how excited I would get you when you and I, Adam, got to talk about a Nintendo presentation, Nintendo Direct. Anytime we get to talk about Nintendo, I find it to be some of our best episodes because we have so much fun with it, right?
Yeah.
We're big fans of Nintendo, and I was glad to see it. Now, yes, I think there were things for sure that I wish could have been there. Of
Yep.
course there were, right?
Right. It
I
wasn't
walk away.
perfect. Yeah.
It's not perfect. I mean, you could say that about every presentation. Could you know, like you can always think up of a game you wish gets announced or whatever, but you know, you just kind of gonna take what is given to you. And I think what they presented, there were some things that spoke to me personally, which I'll get in a little bit. But you know, I would have liked more to spoke to me, but I see it how you said, Adam. There's something for everyone in there. There's you know audiences for a lot of these games that were presented, and so yeah, let's dive in here right away and go over the games that were announced. So what I thought we'd do is we're gonna go through just rapid fire. I'm gonna go through all the announcements, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna open up the discussion, and then we're gonna take the time to dig into some of these ones and give our real thoughts about them. So starting off the presentation, we had our Smash character reveals, which was Pyra and Mythra. Is it Mithra?
Mithra?
Mithra
It's Mithra.
probably sounds.
Mithra.
Mithra sounds way cooler than Mythra, so yes. Um, from Xenoblade, so they are kind of like one character. They're kind of like interchangeable, so that's pretty neat. Fall Guys is coming to Nintendo Switch this summer, and actually, I just want to put. I know this is Nintendo, but they did also tweet out today that it's coming to Xbox as well. So it will be on both platforms. Outer Wilds coming to Switch. There were some two Famicom detective games, Samurai Warriors 5, Legend of Mana. What do you guys say?
I say mana, but I mean I think it could be either.
I say Mana too. I was just
However you pronounce
I just
it.
don't want to be made
But
fun
I
of.
pronounce it mana.
Yep, I pronounce it Mana too.
Okay, I do too. Legend of Mana, June. Monster Hunter Rise, which is just coming out next month in March. Then big announcement, Mario Golf Super Rush coming this June 25th. Tales from the Borderlands coming in March. Capcom Arcade Collection. Stubbs the Zombies, the real still of the show. That's coming out next month. No More Heroes 3 gets a release day of August 27th. Neon White, which was a new IP announced, I believe, winter 2021. Superhero Girls Teen Power, June 4th. Plants vs. Zombies Complete Edition, March 19th. Miitopia is making its comeback May 21st. Mario theme Animal Crossing update is coming February 25th, so literally next week. Project Triangle Strategy, which is a sequel, or is it tied to the story of Octopath Traveler, or just
I think it's a separate story.
just in the
but
same
just
style but
yeah,
different
that
game
2D
art style.
HD.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Uh so that's a working title, which is good because that is ridiculous. 2022, Star Wars Hunters is coming 2021. Knockout City World's End Club May. Hades is getting a physical release. Ninja Gaiden Master Collection June 10th. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity is getting an expansion pass. We got another trailer for Bravely Default 2, which is coming out this month. Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection February 25th. Saga Frontier Remastered April 15th. Apex Legends is making its way to Switch March 9th. And Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD is coming to the Switch on July 16th, as well as some Master Sword and what's the shield called? Hero Shield?
Hylian Shield.
Hylian Shield is coming. There's like Joy-Cons themed around those. Also coming July 16th, and then Splatoon 3 ended off the show, and that's coming in 2022. So as you can see, lots was announced. What do we think? So I'm going to turn it over to you first, Adam. What were some of the big standouts, or what's one that you want to pick apart right away here?
Yeah, the one I think I guess I want to start out with. Oh geez, it's got to be the Project Triangle strategy. Um, again, because I loved Octopath Traveler, and they're taking that same aesthetic that 2D HD or HD 2D, whatever it's called, I forget. They're taking that same style, and they're sort of combining that with like Final Fantasy Tactics, like that strategy based RPG, or kind of like Fire Emblem, adding that like political drama that you get with these warring nations and factions. And they released a demo, so the game doesn't come out till 2022, but they did put out a demo, which I did download, and I played a little bit of it. Got through the just the first battle. I'm not sure how many fights are in it, but yeah, I played through the first one, and very very promising game. I can't wait for that to come out. I wish it was coming out this year, but sadly it's going to be next year. But yeah, that's the one, I think it's worth starting on because it's so good. And Luke, you said about the ridiculous name. Think about, Project Octopath Traveler. Everyone
Yeah.
thought that was a ridiculous name. All they did was they knocked off the project to it. So we'll
Yep.
see. I'm very curious to see if this is just going to become uh just triangle strategy. I imagine not. It maybe is a little bit more ridiculous than Octopath Traveler, but I'd say it's not outside the realm of possibility that it just is uh, triangle strategy.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah, I played about an hour and a half myself in the demo, and you're right, it is very promising. This is like in that RPG realm. There I know that not everybody is in the RPG love fest as much as what me and Palooza are. Hence our level grinder show and everything like that. But like this is whenever I sat down and I played it. And got my hands into the battle. I did a little bit after the battle where there's little events that can affect who's in your party and potentially what political sort of effects that your decisions are making across the region, that sort of thing. So they have these little things that are occurring within that. We're looking at what I would say is kind of a masterpiece situation with this game. And as long as like they kind of um, as long as they can keep the story where we're at in the demo as cohesive and enthralling as what it is throughout the entire game, this is going to be something I'm going to dump a bunch of hours into. I got debated. I thought it was going to be Octopath 2. I'm like, oh, it's Octopath
Yeah,
2.
same. Yep.
Right. And then they started throwing the tactics, the Final Fantasy Tactics gameplay at us and a brand new story developing. And now it's like, wow, we've got Square Enix giving us another uh, really just awesome RPG coming our way. They're on fire.
Yeah, Octopath was a game that I wanted to play so bad, and it was one of those things where I was like, "Oh, well, maybe it's a sale game." And it has gone on sale, but it's like always at the wrong time when I'm playing. I'm, neck deep in another RPG or another open world game that's taking up my time. So the art style is just so incredible to look at and watch full unfold, and I really want to play that game. And I'm kind of debating like, do I, because Octopath Traveler is on PC as well, right? And
Mhm.
I feel like that would probably be a pretty incredible experience playing that game with just such a unique art style with something like the PC as opposed to the Switch. Not to bash the Switch, but I think that's going to be my introduction to it because I would love to play that. And yeah, this combat style and this the changes that they've shown in it, I think that's really cool that they're taking that art style and just that was the thing that really sold this game, made it stand out, made it look unique and stand out against other games that are in this genre. And it was smart of them to just take that and put it into a different game with a different story and a different change it. It reminds me a little bit of a similar thing on an indie level is the what are they called, Steam World games.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Just
Hmm.
taking a universe or their art style of games and applying them into different types of genres or different types of ways that these games can be experienced. I think it's really neat.
Yeah. And one last thing on this is what I was hoping for through the direct is maybe we were going to get the golden age RPGs from Super Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
The Fantasy 4, 5, and 6, and Chrono Trigger. Adam mentions Super Mario RPG. That would be super awesome. This game made me forget all about it. Like, go ahead, keep them. It's fine.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, bring them, but
Yeah,
yeah.
but you get my drift.
Steven, was there one that you wanted to jump over to next?
Yeah, I want to go to the Smash character. I'm going to go from
Nice.
this
Do it.
this unending positivity and flip it over the Smash character and berate Nintendo so hard on this because we have another anime sword user coming to Smash Brothers. And of all the characters that we have out there, the small demands that people have, and even dropping Ninja Gaiden onto the Switch now, like you had the opportunity, and this is what we get. Big waifu energy, but here we are in another cookie cutter type of situation. The mechanic where she can switch back and forth like Zelda / Sheik is pretty awesome, but like we're turning Smash Brothers into a sword fight at this point. Those are my thoughts on that one.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. On the other hand, though, like I'm also glad to see like more Nintendo game representation in Smash Brothers. Like it really started, it's diverted so much into like the third party realm that they really haven't been putting in a lot of first party characters, which in that regard I'm glad to see. But yeah, I see what you're saying. That is the general consensus. Like, oh, another anime sword fighter. Like, even though it's not Fire Emblem, which thank God for that.
Yeah, that's at least a positive on that one.
There are silver linings here. Yeah. So, but I think the gameplay style of the character looks cool. I like the switching mechanic. I think it's kind of that Zelda versus Sheik thing, but both versions have a big ass sword. But I don't know. I think it's kind of cool. I don't hate it, even if I don't necessarily love it. So, and it was a good game. I think there's other characters from that game they could have put in, but I know Pyra / Mithra, they are sort of like the main character of that game outside of like Rex. So I guess it kind of makes sense they would put in a main character, but there are some really, really fantastic side characters in that game that would be really cool if they somehow made it in, but we'll see. I will say, now that we have that Ninja Gaiden collection coming, I'm saying it. Ryu Hayabusa is going to be the next Smash character. Okay. Calling it now. Book it.
Someone make a note of that and call Adam when he's right or wrong.
I hope it's true. How about you, Luke? What'd you see? What'd you see that you wanna talk about?
You know what, guys? I can't wait any longer. I'm just gonna go for it because I've waited long enough, and let's just get to the Zelda discussion, okay?
So, that's not where I thought you were gonna go.
Where'd you think I was gonna go? Mario Golf?
I thought you were going Mario Golf. Yeah.
You know what? I was thinking of going that route, saving Zelda for the last little bit, but you know what? I gotta get to it now. This is probably what people came here for. You know what I'm saying? Is they want to hear the Zelda takes on the podcast, and so I'm ready to give them. So, there was expectations going into this that Zelda was going to have this big presence, right? On the presentation in some way, right? Whether it was going to be Breath of the Wild 2 trailer, remakes, remasters, ports of other Zelda games making their way to the franchise. So just stuff because of obviously Zelda celebrating its 35th anniversary. And so what we ended up getting is I think we got something, which I'll just say is great, but we obviously found out that they had nothing to share on Breath of the Wild 2. They said that they were going to, show more of that when, later this year. So they did put that on record. So does that mean Breath of the Wild 2 is coming this year? I don't know. It makes it seems like it's now more possible. It could be 2022. It's really hard to say, but I was upset that we didn't get to see anything on that game because I'm just like, I'm really excited. I'm replaying Breath of the Wild right now, so I'm just in that mindset. And yeah, it's, you know, they announced that the game coming, Skyward Sword, for me personally, my history with Skyward Sword is I probably sometime last year or the year before, I got this game from the library on the Wii. I hooked up my Wii and gave it a shot, and I just played it for about an hour, and then I couldn't go on anymore. And is just because of the motion controls. Like, call me lazy or whatever, but I just like, that's not the experience I want, especially with Zelda. Like, that's an experience I want to sit back. I want to explore this expansive world of Hyrule, and it's, you know, that's what I want to do with these games. So I am really glad to see that there was motion controls introduced into that. I think that, like, I don't know. I the game was developed like on motion controls, right? So I don't know. I'm not a game developer. I don't know how difficult it is to just kind of translate that over to an analog stick, moving left, right, diagonally, whatever. But I think that that could be more challenging than people are thinking, right? People a lot of times think that these game development things are just a click of a button or something, and it's not the case. And you factor in that there is COVID stuff going in this development. This is a game that was developed, what year was it, 2011 or something like that?
I think it's older than that,
Is it even
isn't it?
older than that? Well,
I'm not
anyways,
sure.
it's, you know, like it's a remake. There's gotta they gotta put some work in to get it to those expectations. So I'll turn it over to you guys though. Like, what were your thoughts on this? But before I do that, sorry, I wish that it would have been like a three-parter, right? Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword, like package deal, like the. And I think that it's still possible that that could come this year. I actually think it will happen this year, but I was hoping for that, you know, 3D Mario All Stars announcement similar here. Even if it was just 3 games, they already have the ports on the Wii U. A little probably simpler than porting 3DS versions of Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time. Like, you know, I would have loved that if I was being greedy, but I'm just glad that there's another Zelda game that I haven't really played through coming on to Switch.
You're the
Yeah, I've
net.
never played Skyward Sword, but I mean, now that it's coming to Switch, I think I maybe want to give it a try. It's ultimately going to depend on what else is out during that time of year, especially now that they have the button controls on there too, or just using the joystick or whatever. I will say, it I think I know a lot of people hate on it, but I also hear good things about it too. So I'm willing to give it a shot again, especially with those button controls. I think it could be worth it. And you know, it's one of the I think maybe the only mainline Zelda game that I haven't played. So you know, now I can add that into my library
Right.
and actually get the time in on it. So so now it's an option. It's you know no longer locked on an old console, which I think is good. As far as the you know like a collection goes, I started to think about it a little bit, and I'm like, you know what, this probably isn't the place to do like a collection, right? If they are going to celebrate Zelda's
Yeah,
35th anniversary like
absolutely.
they did with Mario, they're going to want to finish the Mario anniversary first. So they're going to want to get outside of March and then deliver
Mm-hmm.
on whatever they have planned for Zelda. So I think that'll happen. The only thing that concerns me a little bit is the timing. If they do put out some sort of collect, so like Skyward Sword, that's not coming until July. So if they do also put out a collection of some sort, when is that going to come out? And you know, if that comes out this year, then maybe Breath of the Wild 2 isn't coming this year. And I really hope that it is.
Mm-hmm.
Partially because I really want to play it, but also because it's on my fantasy critic team, and I don't want to lose out on that big game. But yeah, the fact that there was, I'm not so worried that they didn't have anything to show. Again, I think they want to get through March and then start talking Zelda 35. So I'm not giving up hope that it's coming out this year, but I do think that um, I'm a little worried, I should say. And again, they should take all the time that they need because we don't want to see another cyberpunk situation come out. Um, and look at how many times the original Breath of the Wild got delayed too. So I think
Mm-hmm.
there is sort of a history there. So we'll see, but I think there's still a chance. I think just any information that comes forward is going to be after March.
Yeah, Skyward Sword isn't what I wanted, but and like you guys, like this was the only one in the mainline series that I didn't really get hands on with. Twilight Princess, I maybe played, let's say, 3 or 4 hours or something like that. But Skyward Sword, not at all. Motion controls completely turned me off from the game, so I didn't want to have anything to do with it. And now that we're gonna have a controller only, no motion control needed or anything like that, this starts putting it um, into the possibility of playing it and bringing it onto the Switch. And even if I don't play it, my wife Alicia, she is a known Zelda fanatic. This would be something that she'd be looking into, probably getting on her Switch Lite or something like that. So, like I said, not what I was wanting, but this is probably something that we should have been expecting since it's the last one to have a remaster or anything like that. I think honestly, for all of us with our hopes on on those 3D on that Zelda 3D All Stars, or even Breath of the Wild, this summer is going to be when we start getting all that stuff. I think I could almost see. I mentioned before, E3 is coming. It's back too, everybody. I know there's some doubters and stuff like that, but I could see Nintendo having a direct again involved with that. That's gonna have our Zelda wants fulfilled a little bit more than what they were able to give us within this direct. Because I'm still waiting on the 3D trilogy too. Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask were two of my favorites, and if I can get another crack at Twilight Princess too, that would be fantastic. So I'm chomping at the bit for it.
Yeah, and Wind Waker HD was incredible. Like it was so good. Like it looked beautiful. I mean, as it always has. Like Wind Waker has always been a really good looking Zelda game, but they added some quality of life things in the HD version too, which were just phenomenal. And I really hope that comes out on Switch, because it was just it was a great experience. So I do want that again. And it's one of the few games now that's been, I know the original Wind Waker was back on GameCube, but as far as the HD version goes, it's one of the few games that hasn't been brought over from the Wii U. And so I feel like it's only a matter of time that they do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when it was Skyward Sword popped up, I wasn't surprised. I'm trying to find it. I would have sworn it was the title of one of the episodes, but we definitely talked about the leak that happened on the podcast here. They said Skyward Sword was being ported to Switch, and Nintendo denied it. But there was a lot of like evidence kind of supporting that it was real, but it just like it's not obviously being announced anytime soon. So when it popped up, it was like not as big of a shock, but of course you're wanting, something else to pop up, and you have that instant recognition of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they're doing this. But I'm excited to play it. I love Zelda, and whenever there's an opportunity to play it, I'm gonna take it. If there is, you're meant to just finish off here with your point, Adam, on Breath of the Wild 2. If there is some sort of other ports or trilogy or collection or whatever that comes to Switch this year, what does that mean for Breath of the Wild? Does that, like, if it was down between choosing one or the other for this year, I'm obviously choosing Breath of the Wild 2. That's the new experience that everybody wants. But if they do end up, if it just ends up Skyward Sword is the only Zelda game, I mean, it's better than zero, so I'll take it. But it's hard not to have these expectations with all of these things kind of put into account for Zelda this year in 2021. So which one do you guys want to talk about next?
I think I want to bring up just a content update, which is going to be the Mario update for Animal Crossing. So just I love Animal Crossing. They've the events that they've done have all been really fun. They've brought a lot of great new outfits and furniture and decorations and everything. And this Mario stuff looks so good. You have your blocks, your question blocks. There's the womps you can throw in there. the flagpole, and then of course the warp pipe. Not only looks cool, but it gives you the ability to fast travel across your island, which is really neat. Yeah, we got, the little stars and the turtle shells and like just all the Mario things that you love, right? And yeah, I'm super excited for this. I'm glad that it's coming out as soon as what it is.
Yeah, all that work over the course of the last year on the island, on my island, and the finding of DIYs and building stuff and rearranging everything and making sure it's in the perfect position and setting up nice scenes and everything is about to get wiped off to a clean slate on my island.
Nice.
It's going to turn into a Mario Land, like hands down.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
really really excited about this, and you've got different clothing options for everybody too, where they can get dressed up like the characters. I'm hoping there's a Toad one. I really want a Toad one. Like I know they showed Mario and Luigi. They had Wario in there and Princess Peach and stuff. Like I kind of am hoping to see a Toad costume come along with this as well. I think that'd
Yeah.
be one.
And the nice thing too is that it doesn't look like you need to grind out the recipes or anything. Like I think most, if not all this stuff, you can just buy outright from the Nook shop. So you can just get right to decorate, and you don't have to be popping balloons for days on end trying to get this stuff. And I guess because of that too, it's not like time locked like some of the seasonal events are. So that's another plus. Yeah, it's gonna be real cool.
Yeah, I've got millions of bells and hundreds of thousands of tickets just saved up, ready to just kind of start pulling all this stuff down. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, this could be a reason to get back in it for me for sure. I have not played this game as much as I hoped I'd play it, from launch. I wanted to and I really don't have a reason because all the updates that I've seen are very interesting to me. Um, this one though, I think is actually getting me to boot up, when I pull up my Switch and stuff. So yeah, I'm excited. I like that idea, Steven. I actually might do that too, especially because Megan really has no interest in playing it anymore. So I don't think she cares what I do to the island. I would just want to start fresh and yeah, make a Mario Land. I think is a great idea. That would be fun and I think I would have more fun doing that than going back to my old island and like seeing all the disarray that I've left it in and stuff. So yeah. Steven, which one do you want to move to next?
I think we'll go with the chat favorite on this one. The chat's screaming for it, but
All right.
Knockout City.
All right.
I think the presentation of this game didn't do it justice. I think it's going to be a lot more fun than what it kind of led on through the trailer that they were showing, because they kind of had like, oh, here's your favorite game characters from your favorite games who are enjoying playing this game, and they kind of muddled it all up with that, and didn't really show too much like what fun this is going to be. Especially if we get into now they're showing what 3-on-3 battles is basically what they're showing. 2 teams of 3 going in, wrecking a city, playing dodgeball, right? So I think it has this that sweet party game mentality to it, where it could be featured very easily on one of our Games Are Fun Twitch plays.
Yeah, definitely.
So whether it's us teaming up against the community or mixing it up where we're each with community members and we all kind of battle it out with each other, whatever it may be. Like there's a lot of implications party wise with this. And then I think pickup games too is going to be another one of those things where it'll just be it's almost like I don't want to say Fortnite because it doesn't have the Fortnite feel to me where it's going to be cheesy like that. I think it's going to be a good time. A lot of different cool mechanics and stuff. And I was a big fan. Man, excuse me, got a frog right now. So if you remember way back in the day, the last really good dodgeball game that we had on a system was Super Dodgeball for the NES. That was the last one that I played, the last one that I enjoyed. It was a long time ago and it was a good time. This gives me a lot of really good vibes with that, with special attacks coming from your dodgeball throw and stuff. And I'm kind of hoping that it catches on a little bit more than the commercial or the direct announcement that they gave us. I hope it's looking cooler than what they gave it to us there. That's all.
Yeah, I'll say, I mean, first glance, I'm not as optimistic about this one. This is one that I watched. I'm like, this really isn't so much for me. But I mean, it is. I think free to play. So I mean, if it is something where we do like a games are fun live stream or something, and we play, then I would play it for the sake of playing with you all. But like outside of that, I don't think it would be one that I pick up. Although, just make sure if you play this game, remember the 5 rules of dodgeball: dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge.
Yeah, this one I'm with you, Adam. I felt it just kind of, I don't know. I would argue, Steven, that it does look kind of just like it's cashing in on the Fortnite kind of, even in its font work, the purple and the yellow, like it's definitely trying to pull from that even in its menu systems. It's
I
like
know.
how can like anything not be compared to that nowadays? Because I don't think Fortnite they were playing with stuff that had already been kind of established, but they just did it the best and the biggest. So now they're the
Mhm.
ones that I'll obviously get compared to. So yeah, if it's free to play, definitely it looks fun. I would love to see like a better get rid of the people talking at the beginning of the trailer. Like I just was just like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
I was confused. Get rid of that. Show this like this is a dodgeball game. Hype it up as like this is a dodgeball multiplayer game. Show a fast gameplay demonstration that shows how this game's quick, and that's how I think you sell a game like this. And I think the way they did it just wasn't the right vibe. And but yeah, it's cool. I like dodgeball. Like that's better than like a shooter. 99 99 player dodgeball. Like it looks like it's getting away from the battle royale that we see everywhere nowadays, and trying to do something unique while using that model of free to play games.
Y'all were picked last for dodgeball teams, weren't you?
Well,
But yeah, I think it's gonna be a good time. I'm probably gonna get the kids on this, probably more
yeah,
than like.
yeah, for sure. All right, let's
Well,
are you guys ready to talk about some Mario Golf?
let's do
Sure.
it.
Let's do it.
Speaking
Okay.
of games,
So this was a fun one that got announced because there was lots of discussion, leading up to this direct. Are we going to get a Mario sports game again? Are we going to see the return of strikers? I know golf was one that a lot of people were wishing for. I personally just had crazy high expectations. I'm still holding out for one day Nintendo's going to get us with a collection, but that doesn't make sense. Why sell 5 games in one when you can sell 5 games on their own? But
Mhm.
golf, it is one of my favorites in the Mario sports games. It's been a long time since I played it. I think the last one I played um, would have been GameCube. GameCube, I think, was the last Mario Golf I played, and I had a friend who had that game, and whenever we went over to his house, like that was a game that we constantly played. And this one, Mario Golf Super Rush, has a couple new things that they announced in it. Right, we had uh, there's like a speed golf mode where you're kind of like racing to the finish. For our Twitch viewers, I think they're showing it off on this B-roll footage here, and that looks fun because it adds a higher level of competition. I think in the match, it's faster pace, got to react quicker. Where golf is such a slow, laid back game. I love that they're adding that excitement and quickness to it. I could totally
Mhm.
see all of us playing this game and just having such a fun time. Like this is a perfect party stream, right? Fast game of golf like that. So yeah, I'm really interested in seeing what this speed golf is all about. And then they also announced this story mode, which basically takes you're a rookie golfer, kind of adds like an RPG element to the game. We saw a story mode, I believe, in Mario Tennis Aces, and I'm not, I haven't played all the Mario games, but I don't know if this is something that they do frequently as a single player storyline for the sports games, but um, more content for you able to play it when your friends aren't available, right? Something to give the single player that chance, because although these games are best played, I think, with friends, still gives that opportunity. So yeah, I'm really glad that it's coming, and on June 25th, like it's not that far away. It's only like 4 months away, and we're gonna have our hands on it. So I'm really excited.
I'm big time excited for this game. Yeah, I haven't played Mario Golf in a long time, obviously, because there hasn't really been a new one. But yeah, they had. I am a little concerned about this because I know when Aces came out, it wasn't super well received,
Hmm.
and I don't think there was a lot of. I don't think there was a lot of support for the game by Nintendo. So it kind of fell off pretty quickly, and it just, it started off bad, and then it just never really got good. So I think we're not going to have that same trouble with this just because of the heavy like multiplayer focus that this game has, and like the speed rush mode that's there. I don't think it's going to be as big, but I think there's still the potential for it to um, maybe not live up to expectations unless Nintendo supports it better than what they did with Aces. But I mean, I think out of the gate, it's already going to be better than that game. Um, and yeah, anytime you take like you give RPG elements, I mean, here, RPG guy right here. Um, anytime you put RPG elements into a game, like I'm like instantly excited for it. And I know the tennis game had, I think, some sort of RPG
Yeah,
elements to it as well, but I never picked it up, and I'm
me either.
actually kind of glad that I didn't. But this one, I definitely expect to pick this one up.
Yeah, I I tell you, I will say I'm more excited about the dodgeball game than I am about Mario Golf. So there's that. But this does look like a really fun party game. I like the race mode in it. I think that's what I'm most
Hmm.
drawn to from what we've
Yeah.
seen. Is that race mode because like again, like you said, Luke, it adds in that faster element to the gameplay, and you're not sitting there playing 3 hours of 18 holes of golf. You
Hmm.
know,
Yeah.
there's not much.
Hmm.
There's not much within that game style that is appealing to me to say, hey, go ahead and go out and get this game and play a couple rounds of golf with your friends. No, I don't do that in real life. I'm not going to do it in my gaming life. Really, I would go out and level grind in real life if it was available to me, but golf is available and I don't want to play it. Um, but this race mode, sitting down on an evening and running through 9 holes of golf, throwing turtle shells at each other, like
Hmm.
this is exactly the type of idea that I like, and I hope that that's a feature. But I know that they showed the star, right, the star power up where Mario was powered up on the star, hit the ball over to the green, and whenever his ball fell, it knocked everybody else's ball off the green,
Yeah.
right? So just ejected them. That's the kind of cool mechanic stuff that will make it a fun, enjoyable game to me. But yeah, that's my take on it. I'll still play.
It's like they're combining golf with Mario Kart.
That's exactly what I was gonna say, Adam. Those like, yeah, the power ups from Mario
Yeah.
Kart and golf. Yeah, that will make it just such a blast, I think. Like, and like I said, it will bring out the competitiveness in everyone, especially when you can do something like totally screw over someone's ball and throw it off the green like that. It's gonna be fun. So I've been sold enough just on this trailer that I've seen probably like 10 times now that I'm gonna pick it up on day one. Um, yeah, I'm really excited. Now, let's I think we should probably gear towards giving our kind of overall conclusions and closing thoughts on the Nintendo Direct. So, was there any other games that you guys wanted to quickly, just mention or put on people's radar?
Yeah, the one thing I'm going to bring up really quickly that because it's a pile of games. So on top of like the 30 some that were released, we have this Capcom arcade that's out there as well, Arcade Stadium. Was it another 30 games
Hmm.
piled into that one? That's the only other one that I really have any sort of like mention to throw out, just because there's a pile of stuff in there. Commando 1942, like the original Ghosts and Goblins. We're talking back some old retro uh, Capcom play. I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, and then for me, I mean, a game that doesn't really need the extra attention, but it's got to be Splatoon 3. Like I love the first two games, two especially. I put a ton of time into that game, and it's been one that I've been like constantly thinking about, like wanting to go back to, and just hop in and just splatter around a bit. and I haven't done that, but it's definitely something I kind of want to get back to a little bit. So yeah, just a little bit of a shout out there that I am really excited for this game. I don't know what they'll do to make it feel different than the first two. Whether or not they do, I mean, it's still a fun gameplay loop. You just, new maps, new guns, whatever, new modes potentially. Like I think either way, it's going to be fun. But if they do find some ways to make it extra fresh, would just be even better.
Yeah, one shout out that I want to give. Where's the list here? Oh yeah, here it is. I'm gonna yeah. Where to go? Neon White, which is kind of like this 3D platformer. It's like I think Steven, you had mentioned Mirror's Edge mixed with something else. What did you say?
Like
You
car deck building.
deck building, yeah, because you basically are like almost like parkouring around like platforming in environments and using cards as like your weapon, your ammunition, your spells. It looks like a fast-paced game, and it also gives me Doom vibes. The platforming elements of Doom is you have these enemies, you're jumping up, coming from above enemies, have enemies on so many different levels. So I really like that, and I love this kind of like card mechanic and how you can swap between them. And there's no like real weapon on the screen, right? It's like you just have these cards that do different attacks or they're different weapons, but it's not like you have a sword card and your character's holding a sword. Like the attack is like a sword swing, but there's no actual like animation of that, which I think is a kind of unique choice. They're obviously trying to focus on like, hey, this is a card kind of gameplay mechanic, not just take this as a FPS game. But it looks cool. I kind of love the masks that the characters have and stuff. It's just a really cool aesthetic for it, and I think I'll maybe keep my eye on that one, see if it's something that I want to pick up at when it releases.
Good art style too.
Definitely. So in closing, I'll just quickly share. I think the presentation was a good. If I would give it a grade, I'm gonna give it a B. I mean, it wasn't quite there to be an A. Definitely wasn't there for an A plus, but I think it was a good show. It had some great game announcements that Mario Golf was completely. It was expected but unexpected at the same time. There were some games there that I made a little mental note of like, hey, keep an eye on that one. That looks pretty cool. And if I can walk away from a presentation that has even just one or two games that interest me, that's awesome, because that's two games that I didn't have on my radar before that now I know about. And I love that, especially for those smaller indie titles that I think do get a lot of representations in these directs, big and small. So yeah, I think it was a good. I'm hoping. I'm I think Adam, you mentioned this somewhere, tweeted it out or somewhere. I think April is going to be when we're going to get another direct of some sort. I don't know if it's going to be a big full-fledged direct like this, but I do think Nintendo's going to come out with some sort of presentation, Zelda presentation, whatever. And yeah, we are having that Pokemon presentation. I don't know if that's actually been confirmed, but like it's pretty much all but confirmed at this point. We just need a date on, and or it's Pokemon Day probably, right? So that's when we're probably that's where I'm hoping to see some more Pokemon announcements, get another look at Snap. So there's still lots of room for Nintendo left in this year, and I think it won't be long before we see it again.
Yeah, I would probably give this a similar grade. I'd say, B minus to a B. Very optimistic, for the future of what we're going to see. Yeah, it's this, this is Nintendo's first one back from a year and a half long hiatus, basically from their last major, like full-fledged Nintendo Direct. So, yeah, we know there's some big games being worked on. We're going to see them. We'll probably see a lot of those this year, later on in the year as we move forward. But yeah, I mean, it's they're like I said before, they're back. So I'm excited. There was a lot here. It was meaty, it was girthy. It was a good direct. I'm yeah. It's good to be a Nintendo fan.
Yeah, so mine's broken down like this. I'm gonna give them an S rank for how much they gave us, because there was a lot of games
Yeah.
that they gave. Like I keep on saying it, over 30, so like 60 technically if you want to count Capcom. Um, but like an S rank for how much they just dropped on us on their first direct back. But I'm gonna give them a B for not capitalizing, a B overall for not capitalizing on all the hype that was around this direct. I think they had a really good opportunity to kind of like just tease a little bit more on the big titles that we were looking for to keep us ready and waiting for one of those next ones, even though we're all still chomping at the bit for the information. So overall, I'm with you guys, a B on this one. I would have liked to see one more slobber knocker of a trailer from something big coming out this year, but I think what we got it's a lot. We got a lot, and Nintendo's stepping out into the presentation season. Kind of kicking it off and getting the hype real again for us on these things. So good to have it back.
And to go back to what you said, Luke, I do think April will be our next direct. So maybe it's a mini, maybe it's not like a full-fledged one, but I do think April is going to be the point where they tease something
Right.
for later in the year, where it's going to be, a decent showcase, but then they'll have their one more thing or whatever they put at the very end that's going to be that hype trailer for whatever they're planning to release at the end of the year. So I do think we'll get something in April, and then maybe June or something like that, somewhere close to the E3 timeframe. I think we'll get the next like big direct.
Yeah, my thoughts are Treehouse in June. We get whatever huge titles that they're working on, whether it's a new 3D Mario or the November Pokemon game that everybody's expecting, or even Breath of the Wild 2. It's going to be one. It's going to be two of those 3 or 4 things that we're really all looking forward to. They're going to Treehouse it in June. We're going to get teased on it in April, and then we're gonna have something, I think, holiday season that's going to really kind of blow everybody's minds. That's what I'm hoping. Those are my hopes and predictions. They'll be at E3, Garrett. And if you want to argue it, Garrett,
so
back on.
They might be not like E3 like official, but like they'll have news around that time frame. Mm-hmm. So like it might not be like official partner of E3, which they might be. They still might be, because they have been in the past.
They have been part of E3 though. They've been.
I know that. Yeah,
in the past. I think there's too much. This is we can get it. We'll get into this discussion, I'm sure, more later.
So the thing is though, is that it's no longer a physical space where they usually have things set up for whatever game that they're releasing at the end of the year. So, I mean, obviously, they're not going to have that. They're not going to have the big physical space, but they're going to have information to show or share around E3.
Yeah.
They're going to be there.
That's cool. I mean, if they're not, it'll still be around that time frame.
I am partially, Garrett isn't here to defend his point that he's been talking about it in the chat, and I don't want to dive into it too much. But I do have to. I sparked it because I was listening to last week's episode and you guys talking about E3, and I do just want to say my thoughts on E3 because we've talked about it. Look it up. Gaff episode number whatever is E3 dead. We've had lots of conversations on this topic, and I still am of the thinking that E3 and their track record from the past couple of years, there's so many different individual controversies. There's ones of big data that was hacked with information, the charging of companies coming in. There's been a lot of difficulties, and I think some of those relate to having it done in LA physically, that the problem would be solved if it moved to a digital, so there is that. So I think they are going to have that thing, but I do think it'll be interesting. I think this will, I don't know if it's going to have that same level, but we'll talk about it as we get closer, I'm sure.
we learned last year that the world needs E3 still, because the summer mess that we had last year was it was a dumpster fire. It was unorganized, it was clumsy, it was all over the place,
because everybody was doing and it was scattered to the wind. I watched nothing. So I watched nothing of what anybody had to present. Gamescom, like what was even going on during that? That was a
So
hodgepodge.
Gamescom is always it's always been its own thing. Keeley does work with that. So I think Gamescom is fine. They'll have their opening night live thing still, and it'll still be a good show because Keeley's doing it. But that's the thing though, that's in August, right? If you have E3 in June, you have that break in between events, and then you have Gamescom coming back in August with Keeley's thing. I think that's fine. But when you have like an event or multiple events per week throughout the entire summer, it was a mess.
Oh
It was
yeah,
all over the place. Like I said, it was clumsy, it was awful. But now E3's back. If we can get everything into sort of that condensed week of just, blitz us with the information during that week, and then we get a break until Gamescom, and that's fine. I think we need to get back to that.
yeah. No,
So
I'm totally with you there. I don't. My take on it is I want that to happen too, and I think that needs to happen because I'm with you. I just don't know if E3 and them they are the ones that are going to do that. That they're one of the possibilities, but I do think um, there are other things emerging that could come out in front of E3 because of what it's gone through. But we'll have to see as the year continues on and as we hear more. I'm sure there'll be lots of discussion for these summer events and what they're going to look like this year. So let's move into what we've been playing because we got a couple games that we do want to talk about before we wrap up the show. So I'm actually going to turn it over to you first, Steven. Maybe talk a bit about your raids or whatever else you've been playing off stream as
Oh yeah,
well.
it's not just rating. As much as what everybody thinks that Final Fantasy 14 rules my life and I play it all day, every day, 24/7, I do play other
Yeah.
stuff. have I have set back on my Atelier Ryza 2 play a bit, mostly because of Stardew Valley.
Mm.
Because the new content drop that came, the 1.5 update that came on the console, I've been really taken into that. So I've been exploring Fern Island, I think is what it's called, with the volcano. Is that the name of it? Or is Fern Island?
I
I
don't
don't
know
know.
what you're talking, or I don't know the name, but I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
Volcano Island. I've been hanging out there a lot. It's a little. I will say this for the Switch. One of the areas is completely glitched out. It does need patched. It doesn't have
Oh,
the
really?
correct texture pretty much everywhere for me. So like you walk into the area, the ground is completely blue from one end of the zone to the other.
Oh, really?
Everything else though within the game is magnificent.
Oh,
All the
actually, I did see a tweet out by Concerned Ape, and he said that that was patched on Xbox and PlayStation. Nintendo Switch was the one platform that the patch was it had been sent and was waiting approval. So probably by the time of this recording, it's been implemented into the game. But yeah, yeah,
yes,
that they
the
did get
only
on
one,
that.
but it doesn't make the game unplayable. It's
Yeah,
just like, oh, here I'm in this blue zone again, whatever. It took it honestly because of all the stuff to accomplish in 1.5. It took me 3 or 4 trips through that area to finally realize, oh, it's not supposed to look like this. It should probably have textures and look like a jungle a little bit more instead of this big matte blue zone. I've also been playing. I mentioned the demo for Project Triangle Strategy. Put an hour and a half into that. And I plan on putting more into it just to see how far it goes. And then yeah, other than that, big title wise, it's Final Fantasy 14. Just doing the rating, doing this content that I've never done before, and it's been interesting to see how this is going. So fun and interesting. Put it that way.
like it. Adam, what about you?
Yes, I've been playing a little bit of Super Mario 3D World. Not super far in it. I have played it before. I did own it on Wii U, so I have played through the game once. Great game. So glad it's finally on Switch. But I bought the game mostly, obviously to still play that mode, but also to play Bowser's Fury, which is really nice. It's fun. It's cute. It's not challenging really, and it's just okay. Like if you've never played 3D World before and you know, you want to play that game, then by all means get it. We had someone ask, like, if I've already played through 3D World and I want to get it just for Bowser's Fury, is it worth the $60? I'm going to say no on that. As much as I really like it, I enjoy it, and I love Mario and I love Nintendo. Um, Probably wait for a sale if you're looking strictly for Bowser's Fury, because it is pretty short. I will say that it's not very long. Like I said, it's not challenging at all. It is fun. It's cute, but it's sort of maybe lacking a little bit in mechanics. There's not really much in the way of multiplayer. There is a two-player mode, but it's extremely basic for the second player. So, but I mean, otherwise, it's really cool. I definitely enjoyed my time with it. It was easy to 100%. Probably maybe 6 hours. So I mean, it's not like super short, but it's also not like it's not a long experience by any means. Talked a little bit about triangle strategy demo.
Actually, before
Don't have.
you move into that, I'll cut in right now because I want to put
Yep.
in my 2 cents about 3D World while we're talking about it. I also picked it up on launch day, and I have never played this game before ever. I have always wanted to because it looks like such a blast, and so I have
It's so
now
good, right?
played it, and it is a blast. Like it is so much
Yeah.
fun. That morning I got it. Like I lied in bed and I was playing it for hours and hours and hours. It was like consuming me, and when a game can do that, like that's the sign for me that I'm having a really fun time. And because sometimes I don't allow myself to like sit down and enjoy something, and so if it can do that and distract me for that long, that speaks volumes to me. And so I really enjoyed it. I've got to like World 4ish. Then I went back because I had to clean up everything. My OCD was killing me that I left some courses not technically, top of the flagpole, a couple missing stars here and there. But so I'm kind of going through that. And then I did check out Bowser's Fury before the show here. I probably played uh, like there's like this first kind of intro area where it's not really an intro area, but it's like where the game really first kind of opens up, and there's your different sections of the map that you can start platforming, get your cat
Hmm.
shines from. That I kind of basically got all the shines in that specific spot. And yeah, it's fun. I like that it has those ideas that on what's going on in 3D world, but translate into a 3D Mario world. I think that's cool. But yeah, like it's not to the level of like Odyssey or something like that. There's this
Yeah.
3D
Hmm.
space you can explore, and I think it's great. And I'm glad. I think it was smart of them to put it in with the con. I don't think it could have sold it by itself, especially for
Right.
full price. And on the opposite side of the spectrum, I'm someone who wasn't buying it just for Bowser's Fury. I'm buying it for the whole package, and I think there's enough content there if you haven't played these games before. So I would definitely recommend picking it up, and I would love for us to jump into some multiplayer sometime next
Oh
week
yeah.
because I was watching some gameplay. Kind of funny did a stream of that, and they did 4 players,
Yeah.
and it's the same levels, but you have 3 other people with you, and it just
Yep.
changes that game. And there's
It
kind of
gets
new things introduced with that.
Yeah, it gets chaotic, and then you're like competing for score,
Yeah,
and you can get in
throw
each
people
other's
off.
way, pick people up and throw them. Yeah, it definitely creates a more chaotic experience, and is a ton of fun, really.
Yeah, really, I really enjoy it. I'm gonna keep playing. I played some more today, and I'm probably gonna try my best to 100% that entire game in the coming weeks. So, anyways, back to you, Adam.
Yeah. So yeah, I was just gonna say, Triangle Strategy demo. Talked about that a little bit earlier. Great game. Can't wait to really, get my hands on the full game when it comes out. That'll probably be a day one purchase for me. And then otherwise, the game I'm probably most excited to talk about is 30XX. And I was just playing this on my stream last night and had an absolute blast with this game. It was so much fun. Uh, and it's basically like, so 20XX came out, so it's a game, same developers. This is sort of just an upgraded formula of that game. It's basically Mega Man X meets a roguelike game. So you have sort of these somewhat randomly generated levels. they're not fully randomly generated. It's basically like sections of level that sort of get pieced together. Because I don't know what you would call that, but there's it's an early access right now. It is, I think, 10% off for about a week or so. So you can get a little bit of a discount if you buy in early. But yeah, it's so good. It's, it's like playing Mega Man X. You have two characters. One of them is sort of like your standard like Mega Man, with like a Buster type gun, and then the other one is like your Zero character with, with like a sword that you use like melee fighting. But you get so many different power ups and abilities and mods along the way that like totally change that classic Mega Man experience into something just so much better, so much fun. And I'm just really like, I spent a couple hours with it last night and I already love it. It's I think there's another update coming in about a month, maybe a little bit less than a month. So they'll be adding a little bit more. I did actually finish a run last night. Um, what was it? I think it was like six levels long. So it's kind of like your like Mega Man, where you go through a stage and you have like your robot master at the very end of that stage. And yeah, there's six of those currently, and I'm sure, with those updates they'll add more onto that. And yeah, so I played as Ace, the Zero character, and got some really amazing gear right at the start of that run that just like carried me through. Like, it was, oh my gosh, I I kind of housed that run. I was just melting those bosses. So there are ways that you can challenge yourself if you do find you're playing through and you're just kind of blowing through everything. There are ways that you can not only add some challenge but also add additional rewards because of that challenge. So um yeah, it's incredible. It's already one of my favorite games of the year. Can't wait for those updates. Can't wait to just play what they have some more, because it's so good. The music is just filled with bangers.
Yeah.
Like, if you like Mega Man music, it definitely sounds like some good Mega Man tracks. So um yeah, big time fun. The chat was kind of helping me with my choose my upgrades, because there's certain points where you can make decisions of which mods or upgrades you're going to get. So they're kind of helping me choose a little bit, steered me in a really good direction because I got that win. um but yeah, they could have also given me, I was just letting them run the ship basically, and they could have chosen some really bad not really bad, because they all get benefits, but they could have chosen some less good choices that would have made the run a little bit harder for me too. So that was added some additional fun there.
Yeah, the game is rad, and just like
Oh, it's so
watching you
good.
play it on stream, it made me like I'm intimidated by it, because I know those games are just like honestly 2D, 3D, any platforming games I'm not great at. But uh yeah, like this game, I love like the aesthetic that's putting out there. It
Yeah.
looks
I think
incredible.
that run probably made the game look easier than what it is. Because it was just a solid run. I played pretty well. I will say that. But yeah, the gear that I got really helped too. I
Right.
got some really great stuff early on. But yeah, it is definitely challenging for sure.
Right on. All right, guys. Well, that's what we've been playing. Let's end off the show with question of the week. So I dropped the ball as per usual. We all know, and I'm making a stand now that from now on, we are now going to just post the question of the week on our Discord server. A couple of reasons why is because I never tweet it out. That's a big reason. Um, but even when I do tweet it out, and we've been tweeting this, we've been going on question a week for well over a year at this point, and I think when we brought it over to Discord, we started getting more discussion happening on the server as opposed into it depends week to week, but it's also a reason for you guys to join our Discord server. So invite.gg/games are fun. We have a channel where we post the question of the week, you put your response in, and we will read it out on the next episode. So you guys issued the question last week. Oh, I'm in the work chat, that's why. uh as of right now, what are you hoping gets announced this year at events like E3? And I put in Gamescom, etc. That was my amendment to that, just to to make it.
We could have any number of things like we had last year.
It's
So
true. We don't know. So I wanted to make it a little more open, but James Halliday, aka Butt Lord Primus, says I'd like some more information on Final Fantasy 2 Remake Part 2.
7.
Or sorry,
Final Fantasy
sorry, yeah. There was so many letters in that one. Final Fantasy 7 Remake Part 2. That's the title. Any progress on a Metroid game and a Silk Song release date. I know, Adam, you're honestly that's basically, yeah, because you were like, are you
I
me?
was like, are you me?
Because those are all things you've been saying and always say.
Yeah.
So he also mentioned that a new Siren game, which is a horror game from back on the PlayStation. I will settle with the Silent Hill game, he says, which I'm definitely in the Silent Hill boat for that. What else we got here? Nishan says more 3D Zelda remasters, Sonoa remake, Waluigi for Smash Brothers, things I want but will never happen, new Saints Row game, TMNT 4, Turtles in Time remaster remake re-release. Wow. And I think that's all we got for specific write-ins.
God, new Saints Row. Holy butts. That's a call out. I didn't even think about it for this year, but that would be an amazing series to see a revive.
Yeah.
It'd be really good.
So for myself, what I hope gets announced at E3, I'm still like I'm still holding on to this Zelda stuff, guys. Like I really like every year I say it on like a predictions episode. If I could have anything, it would be to have a system where I can just play all the Zelda games portably. The Switch is there. We just need the games now. So I just really want all the 3D games to come to Switch. I would love every Zelda game, to be honest, to come to Switch, but the 3D ones would, I think, speak to me more. So that's kind of my go-to. I would love to actually complete Majora's Mask. I've played like probably 80% of that game, and I've seen how it ends. I'm well aware of what I'm missing, but I've never played it myself. So like that's the case with a lot of Zelda games. I would love that. How about you, Steven?
So I think mine for E3 this year, or however they end up doing this, it's E3. Come on, can we just say it already? It's gotta be E3. I'm leaning really hard on Elder Scrolls. I want to see the new Elder Scrolls, where it's at. Maybe
Good
get a
one.
date on it. See some gameplay, something along those lines. I want to see something going on with that one. Just because, again, Skyrim didn't land very well plot wise with me, and I would like to see an Elder Scrolls game come out with a plot plus the open world, kind of give me that best of both worlds in an Elder Scrolls setting. So I think that's where I'm going to go to. Other than that Saints Row game that was brought up by Nishan, I think that'd be a very close number 2. That's a good one. Adam?
Yeah, we kind of went through all the things that I want to see already. You know, Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2, Metroid, Silk Song. Like any information on those would be great. I still think there's a really good chance we get Silk Song before E3, whether it's just information or a release date or something. Because we know GDC typically happens, and there's usually an indie showcase around that time. So I think if something like that still, like if they do a digital version of GDC and they still do the indie showcase, which would be next month, it would be in March. I think there's a good chance we get some Silk Song information there. But yeah, also Final Fantasy 16, we get some information on that. That would be really great. If we get some new Fable updates, that would be really great.
Be the Final Fantasy. I'm glad you said it though. So, but yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, all that stuff sounds great. And also we talked about it before. It was kind of like some get hype things that we talked about on our live stream the other night would be GBA on Switch online service, and a new entry into either Super Mario RPG or Chrono Trigger. Would be real awesome.
Cool, I like it.
So yeah, lots of stuff. I got a whole list.
go for days.
Well,
Yep.
while you guys are talking, because I only have one, I got two that I want to shout: Resident Evil 4 remake, and also I would like, which I think it's inevitable. I think one more season with the current map in Warzone. I've been still playing a lot of Warzone lately. That's been my kind of game that I keep going back to. I wanted like a brand new map in that game. I think it's time to Verdansk is no more. Let's bring in a brand new map. Love that game. It's so much fun.
Do you think more it would end up being like, because what is it with Fortnite and Apex? Don't they usually just kind of like grab sections out and replace them with new areas? Isn't that how they usually do the battle royale like map
I know that
switch?
like Fortnite did like a whole like brand new season 2, and I thought that was gonna happen with like Black Ops or sorry Cold War when it released. I thought they were gonna like, and they still do that. Basically, like what Call of Duty is doing now is they have their annual releases, but Warzone's kind of like their online battle royale mode that like all the future titles are gonna feed into. So when a new title comes in, all that game's multiplayer guns and equipment go into Warzone. And so I just want them to, even if they do that, because Warzone even has the map itself has little sections that are from Call of Duty maps. So if they could even plug some favorite superstore or whatever and put those in those new maps, I think in a way that would be really neat. So yeah, that'd be cool.
Cool.
All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for the show. We got to issue a new question of the week, and I didn't come up with one, so I was hoping it would come to me on the spot. Uh, I think I was thinking maybe we could do something around the topic of Nintendo, because we did have some discussion on when we could see a new direct, but I don't know. Like there's not a lot of expansion on that question. It's just kind of listing a month. So do you guys have any ideas that we could maybe? This is my fault for not prepping it ahead of time, but I don't know.
I kind of got nothing.
Let's issue the question that Nintendo, it's got to be around the direct. It's going to be next week, so we're going to kind of be over this direct presentation, but I still want it centered around Nintendo. So let's issue the question is, what are you still wanting to see Nintendo do this year? I think that's pretty open-ended. What is it? Is it having Breath of the Wild 2 release? Is it having Metroid Prime 4? Bayonetta 3, Metroid Prime Trilogy. Like, there's lots of options out there. Let's do a Nintendo one. I know Nishon will like that. So that's going to be the question. What are you wanting from Nintendo in the year 2021? We'll just leave it open as that. So again, join our Discord server, invite.gg/games are fun. Answer the question there. And that's going to wrap it for this episode of Games Are Fun. It was a really fun episode this week. I love getting into these Nintendo discussions. So Adam and Steven, thank you so much for joining us. I know it's late on the East Coast, East side. You guys are a couple hours ahead of me. So appreciate you making the late time tonight. Steven, where can people find you?
You can find me everywhere, including Twitch, Instagram, and Twitter. Lordly King S. I'm live 9 a.m. Eastern time until 1-ish p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday on Twitch. And sometimes I tweet stuff. I do every once in a while. Often misspell things and find cool Alex McCalla videos and share them across the world because the guy's a genius. Rant about Final Fantasy and among other things. So, but yeah.
Awesome. How are you, Adam?
I am on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram at AdamPalooza85.
All right. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram at Luke Allen Arm, and twitch.tv/Luke the Llama. More importantly, make sure you're following the show on Twitter. That's where we post all the updates for the show at Games Are Fun Pod. You can also follow us on Instagram. We share when we're going to be doing live streams over there. That's also at Games Are Fun Pod. And then again, please join our Discord server. We've got some new members in the past week, so it was great. We're having the discussion's building over there. So thank you so much. I want to give a specific shout out to James Halliday, Nishon. You guys are always in the chat talking, and we really appreciate that. You always add to the discussion, and Yeah, we would love to see him.
Bravier, he's been really active in
Yep,
there. So
absolutely. So thank
and
you.
and rolling into the event season like we are, because we've got BlizzCon starting at the time of this recording. It's starting tomorrow evening. We've got the Square Enix party gig that they're going to be doing for Final Fantasy 14 coming up. Of course, we've got E3. We've got all these different events going, and just based off the chatter that was going on for Nintendo, this Discord is going to be lit with a lot of great discussions. So I do come in and join in with us, because it's been a really good chat in there for sure.
For sure, yeah. All right, everyone. This has been Games Are Fun podcast. Hope you enjoyed the episode. I hope you have a good weekend, and we will talk to you all next week.